I told them in the front that I wanted to make a confession, and I asked them if they wanted to know it, and then they leaned in. Do you want to know it at the back? Lean in, let me tell you. I go to bed at night thinking about women. Not just any women, midlife women. I honestly really believe that I am midlife women's biggest fan, biggest advocate. I consider myself a champion of midlife women. You see, something happens to me when I think about the experience that they've had professionally as they've walked through the decades of service, right? Or the stuff that they've learned, the stuff that they've overcome as they've walked through life personally. And then they're women. So personal and professional experience gathered together with the feminine essence. For me, that's really exciting, really sexy, because I really believe that makes midlife women at least part of the answer to the challenges that we're facing as a planet. Who reads the newspaper, by show of hands? Who watches the news? Okay. So you guys know that we are facing unprecedented problems in our country, in our continents, and in our planet, right? So whether your issue is sex trafficking or poverty, or whether it's political corruption, or whether it's, I don't know, global warming or the economic crisis, whatever it is that is happening in our planet that affects you and affects me and you care about, I want to make the announcement today that midlife women are really, really part of that solution. They're really, really part of whatever the biggest challenges are. Midlife women have a lot to bring to that table. These challenges we need to address, because if they stop women, then all of that great experience that women bring, midlife women bring, I believe gives us unique, valuable insights. And those unique, valuable insights is the stuff that innovative, creative solutions are made of. And it's innovative, creative solutions that we need as a planet. So whatever your issue is, whatever you're concerned about, we need new ways to think about how to deal with them, right? And that's what I think midlife women are a really big part of the solution. So why do midlife women get stuck? What stops that expression? I know that the usual argument is stuff around glass ceilings, is stuff around glass walls, old boy networks. But honest to God, I've been thinking about this, and I just think that can't be it. You know, have you ever seen a motivated, switched on, determined woman with a result on her mind? Like that woman, that bitch, where's her, is unstoppable. A woman with her mind made up that she's going to protect something that she really cares about or create something that she really wants to see in the world. Like that woman there, no one can stop her. So I'm not sure that it's about glass ceilings or glass walls or old boy networks. Shall I tell you what I think it's about? Yes. BFDLs. Big, fat, dirty lies. Big, fat, dirty lies in particular about who we are, our identity. Big, fat, dirty lies about what we're capable of, about, you know, just our authenticity at its core. Who are we? That's what I really think it is. I think it's about BFDLs. And, you know, I've been working with women now. My past life was a midwife, and I have spent a lot of time being up close and personal with women as they are, I mean really, up close and personal with women at their most vulnerable, at time when they're doing the most important things in their life, bringing forth a child. And I'm also a mentor to women, and I've been up close and personal with women as they are searching and breaking through some of the most difficult challenges in their life. And I really, really believe that women with their mind made up cannot be held back except by big, fat, dirty lies about who they are and what they're capable of. So to illustrate this, I really wanted to share with you, just like any other good teacher or good mentor or consultant, you know you have to be your first client, right? So I really wanted to share with you a little bit about my story, about my BFDLs, my big fat dirty lies. You see, I was born with a facial disfigurement. And so right from a very young age, I was in and out of hospital having quite a lot of surgery to correct this. And my looks were always a bit of an issue for me. And by the time I was 4 years old, I was fitted with an artificial eye and dark glasses to conceal my facial flaws. I remember the day I sat in the chair and there were 3 faces in the mirror. Mine, Dr. Marmion, the white-haired surgeon that I'd known from birth. His hands always smell of hospital soap. And my mum on the other side. And we looked in the mirror and everybody was beaming. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, I don't know. I think I look a bit more normal now. And Mr. Marmion said really powerful words to me. He said, Dion, now, my darling, you are beautiful. Well, I wasn't sure about beautiful, although I didn't know why. I just didn't really buy it, you know. But I thought, at least I look a bit more normal. And really, that was the beginning of my life behind the mask. I call it my life behind the mask. And I wonder if there's anybody in here today that identifies with wearing masks. Maybe, you know, a mask to show up in life, or a mask to look like you think you ought to, or a mask to hide something about yourself that you don't want other people to see or to blend in. Well, that was the beginning of my mask-wearing malarkey, but I honestly did not know that I was wearing a mask, even though my mask was pretty physical. But it was a metaphor, a very powerful metaphor for the way that I would live my life. If I had an imperfect thing in my life, if I had a flaw, guess what I'd do? I'd cover it up. I'd conceal it. And it was a very powerful metaphor that I didn't realize I was running until 40 years after that day that Mr. Marmion told me I was beautiful. Anyway, fast forward 40 years, and it was the week from hell or the week from heaven, depending on which side of the argument you care to land on. And what happened in that week was my aunt died. And at the wake, I saw people that I hadn't seen for years. And Jackie came. And I was having a great old conversation with Jackie, catching up on old times. And her son was really like fidgety, and he was making. Jackie said, "What's the matter with you? Why don't you keep?" And he said, "Mum, why does your friend look like that? She's ugly." Oh my God! Can you imagine? It was like bam, right here, and it was so sore when he said it. But you know, I composed myself. I hid that emotion, and I just carried on with the conversation with Jackie. But something had happened in my heart. The very next day, I was standing in church, minding my own business, and these kids came up from nowhere, tapped me on the back. I turned around, and they pointed at my face. They went, this screeching laugh that pierced my eardrum, and then they ran away. And I stood there, and this pain in my heart was just getting bigger and bigger. On the day of the funeral, like, I don't understand this to this day, but my glasses went missing. My glasses, I never went anywhere without my glasses. My glasses were part of my mask. Have you ever lost your mask? I mean, like, how was I going to go to the funeral? My sister lent me her sunglasses and I went, but I was really aware that there was something going on in my heart, like there was a mountain pain that I just didn't really quite know how I was going to deal with it. But I got through the day, and as the sun went down, I had to take these sunglasses off, and I was really aware that every time somebody talked to me or looked in my direction, I really felt like going like this. Please, don't look at me. I felt like physically doing that. I pondered this. I thought, something's up. I don't get it. Something's going on. That night, when I got back to my sister's, I was really feeling sore. And I took my artificial eye out and put it on the dresser on the side, and I fell asleep till morning. When I woke up, I knew something was really, really wrong. My sister looked at me, she said, Dion, Brooke, that's my 3-year-old niece at the time, she was 3. Brooke was playing while you were sleeping and she found your artificial eye on the side and now it's really freaked her out. She just can't work out how Auntie's eye is on the dresser. Like, what's in Auntie's eye then? Like, she just couldn't get her head around it. Can't blame her. She was 3, right? But when I went to my lovely Brookie J, she didn't want to look at me. She didn't want me to touch her. She didn't want to kiss me. I mean, have you ever been rejected by somebody that you really, really love? I'm telling you that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I ran to my room. I fell on my knees. I lifted my hands up to heaven and I said, God, something is wrong here. Something is hurting. And that's when it happened. I heard the voice. And the voice said to me, Dion, why do you cover up? What's all this covering up about anyway? Dion, why are you hiding? Dion, when are you going to show up in your life as you for real? I'm telling you that I realized that this mask wearing was pointing to something. Where there's masks, pretty nearby, there are some BFDLs. And I tell you, it was on that floor that I did some real soul searching, really listening to myself, really thinking about what was really going on, really thinking about those questions that life was now beginning to ask me. And shall I tell you what happened there? I had to admit that, you know what? There was an issue here that it was like the elephant in the room. I wasn't talking about, I wasn't acknowledging, but I needed to think about this. I don't understand why I'm covering up, but I need to think about this. It was in the weeks and the months that followed that I realized that what covering up really meant for me, what hiding my artificial eye meant for me, my real eye and my real face meant for me, was that I needed to protect you. Honest to God, that shocked me. I didn't realize that I was covering up because I felt like if I showed up for real, like you wouldn't like me. You'd be uncomfortable. I imagined that you might vomit if I showed up like me. I don't know if you can imagine the implications of having those kind of unconscious thoughts about yourself. But I'll tell you now that I meet beautiful, and I really mean beautiful women who feel ugly and unlovable too. I realize that my feeling ugly and unlovable was not only my story, it was the story of a lot of women that I come into contact with. And not just women, men too, children too, old folk, 80-year-old women that I've had conversations with, that somewhere behind the excuses and the masks, they've got ugly and unlovable thoughts going on. They might not be called ugly and unlovable, but they're BFDLs, big, fat, dirty lies about who we really are. So let me tell you what I want you to do if you discover that maybe there's some masks and BFDLs operating in your life. I want you to admit it first, but then I want you to face it head on, like you mean business, and you're going to punch these BFDLs out of your life, because that's what really needs to happen. You see, in the weeks and the months that followed that incident on the floor with God, what happened was I knew that I needed to discover what was going on for me. That's how the words ugly and unlovable came about. Through the wrestling, through the determination to find out what was really going on with me. You've got to be prepared to face it. You've got to be prepared to find it. And what am I talking about here? I'm talking about finding the truth. Because let me tell you something about BFDLs, big, fat, dirty lies. The only thing that really does kick them to the curb is the truth. Some people will tell you that there is no truth, that it's all fabrication. I don't believe that. I believe there's something very true about you. something very true about your beauty, something very true about your capability, your purpose, your potential. And that's what you have to find in order to fight with the BFDLs. You've got to be able to distinguish that. Let me just go back to that. You have to be able to distinguish between truth and fact and BFDL. So look, the fact is I was born with a facial disfigurement, right? I was born with a facial, that's a fact. I can't do anything about that, that's fact. And the BFDL said, well, that means that I'm ugly and unlovable. But that was a BFDL, that's a big, fat, dirty lie. The truth is that I'm beautiful no matter what I look like. That's the truth. So you have to be able to distinguish between big, fat, dirty lies, facts, and truth. And then you have to be it. You know, when I began to hang out with the truth about me, my mind about what my life could be about completely changed. I began to see that I'm an international voice of wisdom. Me. I began to see that I am here to take midwifery, helping women to bring forth to a whole new level. I began to see that my work is global. I began to see that this is part of the process to me standing before multitudes. When I began to hang out with truth, I began to see all kinds of things about me that I could not see when my eyes were blinded with lies about who I am. I'm asking you to be it. When you see who you are, when life begins to give you the visions, you know, like when you're washing the dishes and then all of a sudden you see yourself doing something that you think, whoa, where did that come from? That's life trying to show you who you are. I dare you to be it. I dare you to show up as you really are. See, when midlife women show up as they really are, things change. My name is Dion Johnson, and when I started this talk, I wanted to tell you about the fact that I go to bed thinking about women. I've got another secret, well, another confession actually to tell you. You ready to hear it? Lean forward. When I wake up, I'm thinking about women too. I have a dream. I have a dream that women will dare to find the courage to find out who they are for real. They will show up as themselves and they will dare to do what they are born to do. I call that becoming a woman of femfluence, but that's a subject for another talk. See you later.